Brooke Chavez here with Star Watch Media, and we're at the Who's Your Papa Red Carpet Charity event benefiting the St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. I saw you walk by earlier and I was like, wait a minute, I know he's coming on the red carpet.
Of course, I wouldn't miss it for anything.
Awesome. First of all, I love your name.
Thank you.
I just think it's cool. How'd your parents come up with that?
That's such a weird story because like the whole time I was growing up, it was like the worst name to have, you know, as like a little kid. It's like everyone makes fun of you and I was like, Mom, I just want to be called Scott, you know, or like something normal. And then like once I got older, I finally went to her and I said, you know, where did you come up with that name? And she said that they just couldn't decide. And you know, there's a book of baby names. They went all the way through them and it was the last name in the book. And she said that was like the one that they decided on. So
I think it's super cool. Yeah. And I think it fits you too.
Thank you.
Definitely very chic, sexy.
Thank you.
So you got your start as a snowboarder, obviously. Yes. How did you make that transition into, I know you went into acting and then now you're writing and producing and directing, but how did you go from the snowboarding to the acting?
It was kind of a natural transition, only because at the time there was a lot of agents and stuff that wanted snowboarders to represent them for commercials, you know, and stunt work and stuff like that. So it was kind of a progression for me into that side of the sport, doing a lot of commercials and stunt work, and I really enjoyed it, you know. And so as I got older and I realized it was kind of time to make a transition in my career, it was something that I wanted to, you know, play around with, see if I could continue going with that career move, because I was already doing a little bit of acting, you know, with the snowboarding and stuff like that.
Right, so shooting the promos and things like that.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and when you can do those stunts, but you can also act a little bit, you know, they don't have to have you doubling another actor and stuff. So I started acting and got a couple parts where I wasn't just doing the stunts and said, this is something that, you know, I think I could really enjoy and have fun with.
Yeah, I have a little confession to make.
Yeah.
So I was telling my producer how I loved you on MTV's Undressed.
Okay.
Of course, I think all the girls did. But you know what? There are a lot of guys out there who can look hot and play that part or whatever, but you've actually been able to harness your creativity and write some pretty cool stuff and direct some pretty cool stuff. And what gives you the inspiration and motivation to do that? And you've done a lot of films already. I mean, they all seem a little bit, some darker than others.
Yeah.
Where does that come from?
You know, for me, I even though I was doing some acting and stuff, I never felt really comfortable doing it. It was something I really enjoyed doing, and I always saw myself being on the other side of the camera. So I was using a lot of those early films that I was acting in to gain experience, you know, on what it takes to actually make a film. And so for me, it was just kind of a natural progression, creating stepping stones to try to figure out how I can carve a niche out for myself in the business, you know. And so I was writing stuff that wasn't so edgy and so dark in the beginning, but it was a little more bigger budgeted stuff, you know, and I figured that I needed to kind of make a splash in the industry, you know, and go do something of my own and get it done and prove to people that I'm kind of a force to be reckoned with as a filmmaker. And so I wanted to move people emotionally, and I felt like dramatic subject matter would be a lot easier to do that with low budgets, you know. If I had a lot of money, I might choose something a little bit different, but I think that for me, those are subjects that obviously I think, you know, these types of events are important. There's a lack of guidance these days with parents and their children. There's a lot of underprivileged children that are very talented. They need a lot of help and guidance and stuff like that. So a lot of it just comes from that place, you know.
Okay, and this movie coming up, can you tell us a little more about that so our viewers know where to find it and what it's all about?
Yeah, I'm excited. It's coming out in theaters on June 8th. It's called 1 out of 7. It's actually the first film I have going nationwide theatrical, so it's going to be playing all the way from New York to the West Coast. And after that, it's going to be on video on demand on Time Warner Cable, which will be, I think, something like 60 million theaters. And it's basically a true story about a young girl that runs away from an abusive family, ends up living on the streets of Portland, Oregon, falls in love with a heroin addict who's also living on the streets, and he ends up getting her pregnant, and that's when Vivica Fox's character comes in and tries to take this girl off the streets and kind of nurse her back into, you know, society, which I thought was a great social message, because it's a town like Portland, Oregon, where it's predominantly a white community, yet no one's helping this young white girl that's living on the streets, and this African-American character comes in and she's the only one willing to help her. So I thought that, you know, it was something that could really open people's eyes to what's going on and what you can do just as an individual to even just help one person, because helping one person can help a lot more, you know. So ultimately the film does have a very sad ending to it. I won't tell you that.
Don't tell us.
I won't.
I'm sure our viewers want to check it out, okay. And I definitely want to see it, and we appreciate your time speaking to us. We hope you enjoy the event.
All right, it's great.
Thanks, York.
Okay, thank you.